The smoke from my fireplace hadn't even started to curl up through the pines for more than 20 minutes before I heard it a knock, sharp, impatient, the kind that says someone's got a bone to pick. I set down my coffee, still steaming in the mug, and made my way across the creaky floor of the old cabin I'd just inherited, wondering who the hell shows up on a Saturday morning out here in Elk Rock Bluffs, Idaho, without calling first. You want to talk about a rude awakening? Try opening your front door in your pajamas to find a sheriff's deputy and a woman in heels and a pantsuit holding a clipboard like a weapon. Her blonde hair so perfect you'd think she had a personal wind tunnel following her around. I'm not kidding, she looked like she just stepped off a real estate billboard, but the way she glared at me, I felt like I'd committed a crime by just breathing mountain air. "Good morning, officer," I said, keeping it polite, though I felt a headache coming on. He looked anywhere but at me, probably wishing he was anywhere else but here. "Sir, we got a complaint about unauthorized burning. Lady over there says you don't have a permit and this cabin's supposed to be unoccupied." That's when Clipboard Lady leaned in, practically trembling with the power of her own indignation. You ever seen a person so mad you can practically hear them humming? That was her. Now, let me back up a sec. I'm Wesley Trammell. I own this place. My name's on the deed filed just last month when my grandma passed and left me the cabin and the land. So I go inside, come back with the paperwork handed over, and the officer's face starts to relax. Meanwhile, the woman marches over heels, catching on gravel, introduces herself like she's the queen of HOA land. I'm Marla Jensen, president of the Elk Rock Bluffs Homeowners Association. She says nobody is allowed to occupy this cabin without her say-so, as if she's the gatekeeper of all things cozy in Idaho. I try to explain, "Ma'am, this property isn't part of any HOA. Never has been." She looks like she just bit into a lemon and insists every property in Elk Rock Bluffs is under her thumb. But see, my grandma's cabin was here before the HOA was even a twinkle in some developer's eye. I show her the survey the developer's letter, the original deed. But she just snorts. "I've been president for 8 years, Mr. Trammell. I know every inch." The deputy, bless his heart, backs me up. "Ma'am, he's in the right, no violation." But she won't let it go. But the smoke is drifting. I almost laughed right there, thinking, are you going to find the wind next? Eventually, the officer heads back to his cruiser, and Marla's left standing in my driveway, promising, "This isn't over." I tell her, "Your rules don't apply here." Close my door and watch her scribble furiously on her clipboard from behind the window. I wish I could say that was the end. But you know how these things go when you give a little ground. Folks like Marla take it as an invitation to bring in the whole army. 3 days later, I get an official-looking envelope under my windshield wiper, a welcome package from the HOA, $150 initiation fee, $75 dues for October, and a handwritten note at the bottom, payment due within 7 days to avoid late fees. I snap a photo, send it to my brother-in-law Marcus. He's a real estate attorney and the kind of guy who gets a kick out of nonsense like this. He just texts back, "Save everything, document it all. This will be entertaining." So that's what I did. But Marla, she wasn't about to be ignored. Next week, a second notice taped to my door. Big red letters, late fees, plus a list of violations. My grass is too tall. My paint isn't from the approved palette. My truck's been parked more than 72 hours. My truck on my own driveway on land that isn't even in the HOA. You ever hear something so absurd it almost circles back to genius? That was Marla's brand. So I wrote a certified letter, attached every document under the sun, and mailed it to both her house and the HOA's P.O. box. A week later, orange violation stickers are plastered across my windshield, impossible to peel off without leaving a mess. Each sticker a new creative charge: unauthorized vehicle, failure to register with security, improper display of a permit. I bought security cameras the next day, night vision motion sensors, the works. Marcus said, "Let her dig her own grave. Keep documenting." Didn't take long for the cameras to pay off. One night just before midnight, my phone buzzes, motion detected. I pull up the feed and there's Marla, all in black but unmistakable, crawling through my grass with a measuring tape, taking photos, making notes on her clipboard like she's starring in some HOA spy movie. She even checks the color temperature on my porch light. The next morning, new violation notices appear citing 3.7 inches of grass over the limit firewood pile. Too close satellite dish, 4 inches too big. Marcus is laughing so hard on the phone he can barely get out. Save everything. This is golden. But it got worse. She started telling Amazon drivers they couldn't deliver unless the package went through her for security screening. I had to meet drivers at the end of the driveway just to get my supplies. Then came a legal letter about constructive use of the HOA's picnic pavilion and pond. Never mind that they were half a mile away behind a locked gate. She wanted $8,000, $200 in back dues. I sent it to Marcus. He laughed. She's inventing legal doctrine now. Constructive use, never heard that one in law school. All this time, Marla kept ramping things up, peering through my windows, taping past due notices to my door, trying to open my mailbox, which is a federal offense, by the way, even laying down on my driveway to measure the lumens of my porch light. I caught it all on camera. Around then, I started hearing rumors. Apparently, I was running an illegal business or maybe an Airbnb or even a motorcycle shop, depending on which neighbor you asked. A few folks in town gave me side-eye, but others rolled their eyes, told me, "That woman's a menace." She tried to fine me for beige shutters. One guy, Frank, said he repainted his bright purple just to spite her. Things came to a head when Marcus helped me draft a cease and desist letter, laid out every incident, included the security footage, the deeds, everything. Sent it certified signature required. Not 24 hours later, the county clerk and sheriff showed up. The clerk explained Marla had filed an annexation request complete with signatures from 2 non-existent people, and wait for it, her Yorkshire Terrier, Captain Buttons, as a witness. I mean, you gotta laugh. The clerk's face was priceless when she realized. Submitting fraudulent documents is a crime, plain and simple. I filed formal complaints for fraud and trespassing right then and there. A few days later, Marla rolls up with half the HOA board claiming they're holding an emergency meeting to vote me into the HOA. I tell her county already denied your request. You used your dog as a witness. Her own vice president is looking at her like she's lost her mind. You measured his grass at night, due diligence, she snaps. The rest of the board finally catches on. Within a week, they call a meeting to vote on her removal. But Marla's not done. She calls the local news, accuses me of running an illegal business. The article includes her claims, but also the bit about her forged signatures, including Captain Buttons, so it doesn't exactly help her case. Next morning, someone dumps 3 tons of gravel at the end of my driveway, blocks me in. Sheriff comes out, calls it vandalism, but without footage, there's not much he can do. My back's still sore from moving all that rock. That's when I decided enough was enough. Called Marcus, said I wanted to go after her for everything: defamation, harassment, vandalism, trespassing. Filed zoning complaints about her own property. Turns out her deck's too big, her shed's illegal, her driveway's not up to code. I even met with a local reporter, Sarah Chen, who ran a headline, "HOA President Under Investigation for Fraud Accused of Systematic Harassment." The story went viral, especially the part about Captain Buttons' signature. Someone made a Facebook page, Captain Buttons for HOA President. Even the actual HOA board was done with her, voted her out 83% to 17%. Then the sheriff's department filed charges, felony fraud, 6 counts of trespassing, harassment. The courtroom was packed the day I testified. Marla tried to claim immunity, tried to say her dog's signature was valid, but nobody was buying it. The judge sent her straight to jail, 6 months for felony fraud, $15,000 in fines, barred from any HOA board for 10 years. I'd love to say I felt some grand sense of victory, but honestly, I was just relieved. Sometimes the only way to deal with a bully is to let them dig their own hole and make sure the law's watching when they fall in. That afternoon, I went home, sat on my deck, and listened to the wind free finally to enjoy the quiet my grandma loved. So here's my question for you, because I know I'm not the only one. What would you have done? Should I have backed down, just paid the fees to keep the peace? Or did I do right by standing up for what's mine? Drop a comment. Share your story and tell me where you stand on HOAs and property rights. Because if this mess taught me anything, it's that standing your ground matters, even if it means taking on the clipboard brigade and their dogs too.